Welcome to IBC 2017. I'm Joe O'Halloran, Editor-in-Chief of Rapid TV News, and I'm here with Mark Donnigan, Vice President of Marketing for Beamr. Welcome to IBC, Mark.
Thank you, Joe.
Now, it's been a very, very interesting year so far for TV and broadcast. What do you think have been the key drivers of the industry?
Well, certainly the growth of video on mobile. On one hand, that's not a news story. That's a trend that has been happening for a few years now, but it is just accelerating at an incredible pace. We're seeing this with the fact that now mobile operators are offering their own video services, and it's just really changing the dynamics. Of course, as devices get more capable, screens now, some even 4K, hard to believe. It's driving a lot of video, and yet a lot of challenges. That's a lot of bandwidth consumption.
Well, I think what really is making things more complex is the rise of the skinny bundle and companies like Disney investigating direct-to-consumer plays. How much more complexity do you think that's going to add to the industry?
Well, it's interesting because I guess we could talk about the aggregation side of it, the fragmentation to video services. Some of that, I don't know how consumer friendly it is, right? We, of course, are involved in the technology side. Beamr is a video technology company, so I won't comment on the business. But I will say that the complexities, as devices have gotten more capable, what's really happening is that even though network capacities are improving, it's no longer sufficient to send a 600 kilobit 360p or 480p video to iPhone 10, or even an iPhone 5, even an iPhone 4. That's driving just a lot of need for continued advancement on the codec side. With more efficient codecs, and that's something, of course, Beamr works every day very hard at meeting that need.
But going back to what you just said there, do you think the users are placing really unfair demands on the?
That's an interesting question, because then you get into, they want their content everywhere, anytime, but they don't want to pay for the bandwidth, right? In some markets, certainly in the US, you're seeing where there is, so-called zero-rated services, where if you take the operator's bundle, they will not count that towards your data. T-Mobile has a very novel plan that they've had now for, I guess, about really 2 years, called Binge On, that they simply will allow you to watch at, say, 480p. And for a lot of consumers, it's probably sufficient. We think, though, there's even a better approach, because here you do have a beautiful display, very capable device. And so to only get SD seems kind of lacking a little bit, which, again, with more efficient encoding technologies that are available today, you can actually deliver perhaps HD in the same bandwidth as even SD. And that's what we're here showing at IBC.
Well, before we get to that point, let's talk about some beautiful devices that were launched recently. iPhone 8, iPhone X.
That's right, iPhone X or 10, I don't know what it is.
But also the new version of Apple TV in 4K. What's that going to mean for doing online video and really what you guys specialize in?
Yeah, I think what it means is that there's no longer this notion of a TV profile, and I'm speaking as a compressionist or from an encoding perspective. There used to be, and there still will be to a certain extent, but there was sort of your TV profile, and it was set of bit rates, and obviously they would be higher. The assumption was you're on a more robust broadband connection, and then there were your mobile profiles. Oftentimes mobile maybe tapped out at 720p, sometimes even only 480p, and they would just limit it regardless of how capable the device was. But now that you have the iPhone 10 that can play back HDR, 4K, I don't know, where do you stop, right? And certainly it can be argued that on a small screen, the full benefit isn't there. But if a consumer looks at it and says, this is amazing, this is beautiful, and I'm willing to pay for it, whether that's just an increased bandwidth or maybe a slightly higher subscription cost or some blended model, I think there's a lot of consumers that are going to do that.
It's a value service.
It's value, and you know, we just don't know how compelling the entertainment's going to be. We're here showing on mobile devices, and HDR looks awesome, even on a you know, a 4 or 5 inch display. It is demonstrably better. Not a lot of HDR content's available today, and the average person is not going to be watching that on their phone, but in time, and it's not going to be a long time, it's going to become far more normal than it is today.
And as you say, you've got these new screens with OLED technology that show that off in its glory.
Amazing, amazing.
So bringing this all back, we're here at IBC. What are you guys showing that taps into these trends this season?
Absolutely. So we're really focused on sort of two main vectors, if you will. We just spent most of the time talking about mobile. And we are very, very, very bullish on mobile video. You know, depending how you count the numbers, there's perhaps 1 billion devices that are now, or at least within the next couple of weeks, could be HEVC hardware decode compatible. And that's just tremendous if you think about that. So, and I'm speaking of iOS 11, High Sierra. There's already a very large Android database, even with Samsung S8, with the new Galaxy Tab or the Note 3. So we know on the mobile side that the consumer is going to begin demanding higher resolution, better quality HDR. And we have a very, very good solution that can produce very low bit rates, extremely high quality, and we're here showing that and demonstrating it. It's real, it's here, it's not in the future, it's actually here. We have those devices right behind us, and that's what we've been showing all of attendees to the booth. But the second one is general software density. So we work very closely with Intel, and we've worked with Intel on their latest scalable processor architecture, the 8100. And this is the Intel Xeon Scalable Pearly is what it's often referenced. And this is just an awesome chip, an awesome platform. And what we're showing that everybody is just mind blown is 6 channels of live 4K P60 10-bit HDR on a dual socket Pearly Scalable 8100. And if you think about what that means is now on basically a 2U server, basically inside a single box, maybe even a 1U server, depending on the configuration, you can get 6 live, and these are high quality, broadcast quality channels. It's amazing, the density is amazing. And so as everybody's moving to software, of course, you know, you have to now think about power consumption, how much space in the rack. Obviously, there's the capital investment of the hardware, of course, as well. But there's more to it than that, and we're really excited about the results that we're getting.
Do you think the industry's really swung your way into like this is the quality? I'd say the quality threshold is getting higher and higher and higher. This is the day for people who can like decrease the bit rates. And
this is the day. Absolutely, it's swung our way. And Beamr from day one existed at the intersection. We would position ourselves, and in all of our sales meetings, all of our public presentations of our solutions, our technology, we would say we sit at the intersection of quality and bit rate. So for us, if someone has a use case where quality is not number one or at least a number 2 priority, then we're probably not, there's other ways. You can just frankly crank your encoder bit rate down. It'll be blocky, you'll sacrifice quality, but there's other ways. But where someone requires the highest quality possible at the lowest bit rate, it's perfect. And what we're showing, one of the ways that we're achieving this is through a new bitrate mechanism that we introduced called CABR. It's Content Adapted Bitrate. So everybody's familiar with CBR, constant bitrate encoding. Everybody knows VBR, but now there's CABR. And one of the demos we have is with our HEVC encoder called Beamr 5X. We're actually able to, so if you use the round number of, let's say HEVC is 30 to 50% more efficient than AVC, we can further extend that efficiency another 30 to 50%. So I'll give you an example. We have a couple demo files that we're showing, and we have many more. We just are, can only show so many, that we're showing 4K, very good quality at 6 megabits, HEVC. And if you think about that, that's amazing, because many services today, especially in parts of the world where bandwidth is not so constrained, 6 megabits is a high 1080p profile. Some are even at 8 megabits still, and yet we have 4K at 6 megabits.
Think of 5.5 megabits was the old DVD, right? Wasn't it?
Absolutely, absolutely. So it really is, you ask the question, is this playing kind of into our hands, into our strength, is how I like to think about it. And certainly we feel it is, but our customers are telling us it is.
So to wrap up, let's crystal ball. We're here next year.
Sure.
What do you think the innovations that are going to happen in the next 12 months? Is there going to be anything really new?
Well, what's beautiful about the encoding space is that it's new every month, every quarter, but some of the things that are new are maybe a little bit less obvious. For me, as running marketing for the company, it's a challenge, because when we're further refining our codec and producing better quality, how do you quantify that? But next year, absolutely, what you're going to see is even more higher density, meaning faster performance. You're going to see, quality at low bit rates that is just absolutely amazing. So even though 6 megabits today, I think is pretty amazing, I wouldn't be surprised if we're, showing 4.5, 5 megabits, but with the same quality. So again, it's all about retaining quality, but reducing bit rate. So everything we do is about retaining quality while we reduce bit rate. It's not just reduce bit rate.
No worries by HDR standards or anything?
Well, yeah, that's a very good question. And no worries. We actually fully support Dolby Vision. We fully, of course, support HDR10, HDR, and also HLG. We're actually showing HLG here. We had to work very hard to get the new LG panels so that we could show all 3 of those standards. I think the consumer has a little more worries about the HDR standards than we do, because getting a panel is a challenge. But HLG is very exciting, a lot of benefits to it, but Dolby's doing a great job. Of course, HDR10 is a standard, so.
Let's see. It's been a pleasure speaking to you, and
Nice
we look forward to seeing the innovations this time next year.
Thank you,
Mark.
Thank you.
And thank you for watching.